Good morning everyone. Myself Sandhya Rani from EC department. So today I am going to deliver the fourth lecture on electronic measurements and instrumentation. So in today's class we are going to discuss about the different dynamic characteristics of the instruments. So the four dynamic characteristics which we are going to cover in the today's class. So these are the dynamic characteristics. So the four dynamic characteristics which we are going to cover are speed of response. So this is the first one. Next, fidelity. Next, third one is the lag. Next, fourth one is the dynamic error. So these are the four types of dynamic characteristics which we are going to cover. So before going to today's class, that is the dynamic characteristics of the instruments, let us revise what we have covered in the last class. So in the last class we have discussed about the errors and the types of errors. So the four types of errors are the types of errors. So two types of errors have been left in the last class. So after completion of these two types of errors, we will go for the dynamic characteristics of the instruments. So the types of errors are: first one, gross error. Next, second one is the systematic error. So the systematic error is subdivided into three parts. So the first part of the systematic error is instrumentation error. Instrumentational error. Next, the second is environmental errors. Environmental errors. Next, the third one is the observational errors. Next, the third one is the random error. Random errors. So these are the three types of errors. First one is the gross error, second one is the systematic error, next third one are the random errors. So in systematic error, these errors are subdivided into three parts, in which the first one is the instrumentation error, and the second one is the environmental error, third one is the observational errors. So the first error, which is the gross error. So gross errors occur due to mistakes which were done by the human beings. So it may be insufficient knowledge of a person, or it may be improper readings which were taken by the observer. Whereas this is about the gross error, which these gross errors occur due to human being mistakes. So these gross errors can be avoided by taking more than one reading. That is, by taking 3 successive readings, we can avoid this gross error. Next, second one is the systematic error. In the subtopic is the instrumentation error. So in this instrumentation error, the error occurs because of the mechanical components which were placed in the instrument, and also the non-linear characteristics of an instrument. So these instrumentation errors can also explain the help of a de-Ostrom moment. So how the spring appears and how the friction of the spring causing the error in that instrument, or the de-Ostrom moment, which we have explained in the previous class. Next, third one is the environmental errors. So these environmental errors can be because of the changes in the temperature, or changes in the temperature, humidity, pressure, it may cause it due to electric field or electrostatic fields. It may be also caused due to dust. So in order to avoid these environmental errors, we are going to seal all the components in the instrument, and also we are using some magnetic shields to cover the components in the instrument such that we can avoid these environmental errors. So for every errors, there are steps to reduce the errors also. So by using those steps, we can reduce these types of errors. Next one is the observation errors, which we have to discuss in the today's class. So observational errors. So these observational errors in the instruments were caused by the observer. So the main reason for these observational errors are caused by the observer. So mainly the parallax error is produced with the help of this observation error. So we are getting the parallax error in these observation errors. So we have to reduce this parallax error. So the error we are getting is parallax error. So how we are going to reduce this parallax error, which is done by the observer. So in every experiment we write steps, precautions. We are writing that we have to reduce the parallax error. So how we are going to reduce this parallax error, we will see in this topic. So first of all, what is a parallax error? So parallax error can be explained with the help of a simple example. So let us assume a scale. So this is the scale which consists of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the 5. So let us consider this is a scale. So in the eye of the observer is here. So the observer may be here, or the observer may be here, or the observer may be here. So the eye of an observer can be here or here or here. So anywhere it can be placed. So if you want to read the scaling of 2. So if you want to read the meter scale at 2, at the number 2. So if the contact of the eye contact is placed perpendicular to 2, then we will get the correct reading. Whereas if the eye is not perpendicular to 2, which means if the eye is too far to the left or too far to the right of the needle which is present on the instrument, then the parallax error may occur. Then the angle of eye looks like this, or the angle may look like this if you see from bottom side. So this small error. So instead of measuring 2, if the head of the observer is too far to the right or too far to the left, then the observer may get the reading of 2.2 here, whereas here he may get 1.8. So this 2.2 and 1.8 are the wrong readings, whereas 2 is the correct reading. So this minor change in the correct quantity of the measurement is called as the parallax error. So this 2.2, 1.8, we are getting the parallax error. So I repeat once again. So these are the observation errors which were caused by the observer. So the main error which is caused by the observer is the parallax error. So in this parallax error, the eye of the observer should be perpendicular to the needle which is placed on the instrument. So if the eye is not placed, which means the head of the observer is not placed exactly perpendicular to the needle of the instrument, or if his head is placed towards the right or towards the left of the measuring instrument, So these complex errors can be eliminated by using two ways. So the first one is, steps to reduce observation errors. Observation errors. So one method is we have to use the digital display. Digital display. And the next one is we have to use knife edge pointers or needles in the instruments. And the second one is knife edge pointers or needles in the instrument. So we can use either this way or that way. So in this way we can use by using a knife edge pointers we will get the correct value of the measured quantity. So another way of reducing this observation error is by using this digital display. So there is no problem with the digital display. If it is a digital display then it is very easy for the observer to use to reduce this observation errors. So the last error is the random errors. So the random errors. So these random errors are the errors which exist in the measured quantities after the systematic errors and the gross errors. So the errors which remain even after reducing the systematic errors and gross errors are called as random errors. So there is no reason for these random errors. They may cause due to unknown reasons. So these are after gross errors and systematic errors after gross errors and systematic errors these random errors may occur. So these may occur, although these errors are small, these may occur accidentally. So these changes are very small. These errors are very small, they are very accidental. Okay, accidental changes and they may cause due to unknown reasons. They may cause due to unknown reasons. As these random errors are small, they are not considered much. But these are considered if you need higher accuracy. So these errors are considered in the measurements where we use the higher accuracy. So if we need higher accuracy of the instruments, we are going to consider this. So then whatever the degree of accuracy should be known, then we are going to consider this type of random errors. So these errors can be reduced by using the statistical analysis. So these errors can be reduced by using statistical analysis. Statistical analysis. So what is meant by the statistical analysis? So statistical analysis is the analysis which we done independent of the observer, which means we have to take more and more number of readings. take the measurement should be increased. Then only we can minimize the small error which is the random error. So repeating the same experiment. Repeating the same experiment number of times by number of observers and also usage of number of instruments can reduce this by using number of observers and by performing the same experiment number of times by using the same type of instruments, but we are using different instruments which are of same types. We can reduce the small error which is the random error. So far we have completed the types of errors. Then we will go for the dynamic characteristics. Today we are going to discuss about the dynamic characteristics of the instruments. So we have said that the performance of an instrument can be determined by determining its characteristics. So we know that performance of an instrument is good by determining its static characteristics and also the dynamic characteristics. So we have studied about the static characteristics. So these are the characteristics which doesn't vary with the time. So static characteristics are the characteristics which doesn't vary with the time. So we have seen the number of static characteristics like accuracy, precision, next resolution, expected value, error and also the sensitivity. So today we are going to discuss about the dynamic characteristics which changes with the time. Dynamic characteristics. So these are the characteristics of the instruments in which the measuring quantities changes rapidly with respect to the time. So whereas in static characteristics the measured quantities doesn't vary with the time, whereas in dynamic characteristics the measured quantities varies rapidly with respect to the time. So the definition of the dynamic characteristics are these are the characteristics of the instruments which varies means in which the measured quantities varies, in which the measured quantities it may be of anything. So this measured quantities may be of anything, varies rapidly with respect to the time. So these measured quantities of any times, maybe temperature, humidity or pressure or anything can be considered as physical quantities. So for these physical quantities we are using the measurements. So these measuring quantities can change rapidly with respect to the time. So we need to know these dynamic characteristics of a particular instrument. So the instrument, if any instrument if used for the measuring purpose, any instrument does not respond instantaneously. So even though the measured quantity changes instantaneously, but the instrument doesn't respond instantaneously. So there will be some delay in the response of the instrument. So this delay in the instrument may be due to the slowness or stubbornness, due to the mass or due to some thermal capacitance, some electrical capacitance of the instrument. We are going to have some slowness or stubbornness in the instrument. So in these four dynamic characteristics, so before going to the dynamic behavior of the of a measuring system can be determined by using some predefined signals or predefined values, some known as predefined values of the measured quantities. So these predefined are, first one is the step input. So if you draw a graph between the input and the measuring quantity. So this is the time and this is the measured quantity. So this is the time and this is the measured quantity. So this is the step change. So this step change is also called as an instantaneous change. So there is an instantaneous change in the measured quantity with respect to the time. Next, the second one. Ramp or linear input. So if you draw this ramp input, we look like this. So this is the time and this is the measured quantity. So here I am going to draw the different types of change in the measured quantities with respect to the time. So different types of change in the measured quantities which are predefined, which we may assume with respect to the time are shown below. So this is it increases linearly with respect to here the measured quantity increases linearly with respect to the time. Linearly increases with respect to time. Whereas in this case it occurs when there is a sudden change in the measured quantity with respect to the time. So it is a sudden change in the measured quantity with respect to the time. Similarly, we have two more waveforms. Next, the third one is the sinusoidal input. So the sinusoidal input with respect to the time is. So this is the time and this is the measured quantity. So here with respect to the time, the measured quantity changes in accordance with the sinusoidal signal. Here the measured quantity changes sinusoidally in accordance with the sinusoidal waveform. Similarly, we can draw for the parabolic response and also the impulse response. So impulse response means only at time t equals 0 we have some finite value. For all of the remaining values it will be 0. So these are some predefined changes in the measured quantities. So with the help of this predefined measured quantities we can define the dynamic characteristics. So let us go for the first dynamic characteristics, that is the speed of response. So the four dynamic characteristics are, first one, speed of response, next one, second one is the fidelity, next one, third one is the lag, next one, fourth one is the dynamic error. desirable characteristics, whereas this lack and dynamic error are the undesirable characteristics in an instrument. Undesirable characteristics of an instrument. So the first one is the speed of response. So the first one is speed of response. So the speed of response is the desirable characteristic in the instrument. So what is the speed of response? So it is the speed of response is defined as the ability of the instrument to respond rapidly with respect to the change in the measured variable. It is called as the speed of response, which is a desirable characteristic. So it can be defined as the rapidity of the speed of the instrument, which responds to the change in the measured variable. So the speed of response can give the activeness to give the condition of the instrument, which determines the activeness of the instrument. So if the speed of the response is more, then the instrument is more active. So it determines the activeness of the instrument. So the speed of response should be more for a good instrument. So as the speed of response is a desirable characteristics, so how can we define a speed of response? So it is the ability of the device or ability of the instrument to respond rapidly with respect to the change in the measured variable. So it is a good characteristics of an instrument. So it determines the activeness of the instrument, and also it is considered as a good instrument if the speed of response is more. Next. So we have completed the speed of response, that is the first type of characteristic. Next we will go for the fidelity. So the second one is fidelity. So what is the fidelity of fidelity? As it is a dynamic characteristic. So what is the fidelity? So it is the ability of an instrument, so which is a desirable characteristics. So it is defined as, the fidelity can be defined as the degree up to which the instrument responds with respect to the change in the input or the measured variable. So it is the degree up to which an instrument can give the faithful response with respect to the change in input, with respect to the change in the measured value. Change in the measured value or measured variable. So in this fidelity, it is a characteristic of a instrument in which the output of the instrument should faithfully reproduce the change in the measured variable. So it can be explained with the help of a graph. So this is the output of the instrument. With respect to time. So this is the output, which is the output of the instrument, which is shown on the instrument, and this is the change in the measured quantity. So if an instrument shows like this, then we will determine that the instrument will have a high fidelity system, which means a 100% fidelity of the system. So in generally, practically we may not issue the 100% fidelity of an instrument, but we can issue nearly or approximately 100% of the fidelity of the system. So after for every change in the measured quantity, the instrument will be able to represent the change in the measured quantity with the help of the instrument. So the system is said to have high fidelity. Next, the third one is lag. So the third one is lag. So lag can also be considered as a delay. So the delay of the instrument, even though the input which means even though the measured quantity changes, there will be a lag in the instrument. So there will be slowness, or the speed of the instrument is, if the speed of the instrument is very slow, then it shows some lag in showing the measured quantity. So it is known as lag. So it can be defined as the delay in the response of the instrument, even though there is a change in the input or the measured quantity changes. So this lag can also be defined as the time taken by the output of the instrument to show the changes in the instrument after changing the measured quantity. It is called as a lag. So this lag can be expressed with the help of a graph. So we can have two types of lags. So first one is the retardation type, second one is the time delay type. So the first one, retardation type, and the second one is the time delay type. So these are the two types of lags which are present in the instruments. So retardation type means in this the instrument responds immediately after the measured quantity changes. So in this immediate change in the instrument, so there will be retardation type, there will be immediate change in the instrument after the measured quantity changes. Whereas in this time delay type, the lag occurs very much, which means the output of the instrument doesn't changes. So the output of the instrument changes only after the dead time. So the change in instrument occurs after dead time. So the dead time of an instrument can be explained as the dead time. Even though there is a maximum change in the input, there will be no change in the instrument. That is called as a dead time, which can be explained with the help of a graph. So the dead time can be explained with the help of a graph. the measured quantity with respect to the time. So if it is an input, so here the measured quantity is changing linearly. Now this is the output. So this is the output. So at certain amount of the time, the output of the instrument doesn't changes even though the input changes. So even though if the measured quantity changes, the output doesn't change. It remains constant. So this constant time at which in which the instrument doesn't respond is called as dead time. So from this we can clearly understand the dead time. So lag means the delay of the instrument which can be caused after the even though the machine variable changes. So it is of two types. First one is the retardation time and the time delay time. The retardation time, the delay is very small. Immediately the output of the instrument changes with respect to the change in the measured quantity. Whereas this time delay time, the change in the instrument only occurs after the dead time. So the dead time means even though there is a change in the measured variable, there will be no change in the output of the instrument. So that is called as a dead time, which is indicated by a clear graph. Next, the last characteristics. So the last fidelity completed, lag completed. Next one is the dynamic error. So the dynamic error is same as static error. So it is also the difference between the measured value and the true value. So we have explained that true value is equals to the exact value of the measured exact value of the quantity, whereas this measured value is the value which we get from the instrument. So this dynamic error is defined as the difference between the true value and the measured value. So one of the difference between this dynamic error and the static error, this dynamic error, the values are taken under time varying conditions. So these are the values which were taken under time varying conditions. Time varying conditions. And this dynamic error should be taken without a static error. So let us assume that there is no static error. We have to define this dynamic error. So this dynamic error is the difference between the measured value and the true value. Assuming no static error. So we have completed the dynamic errors. So these are the 4 dynamic characteristics in the instruments. So to conclude the today's topic, so today we have discussed about the types of errors, the different types of errors like gross errors, systematic errors, and also the random errors, and also we have discussed the